I welcome you to a video on advanced vocabulary tips where I will talk about 10 important phrases which you can use to show that you are able to use the language at a very advanced level. We must remember that these phrases show people that you are able to use this language in a great variety of situations. To be positive in your communication, to speak in a manner which shows that you're confident in the use of this language, all these are important for your advanced vocabulary. And vocabulary, as you know, depends on the expressions which we use, not only words, because beginners start with learning many words. You learn many new words and add to your vocabulary. But as you reach the advanced level, for you, connected speech is most important. And here, your familiarity with phrases makes you the person you are. In this video, I shall talk about 10 such phrases which you can use in your communication when you are doing it in a very formal context, at a very advanced level, where your audience is a specialized audience. If you use this, then it will be a very impressive use of language. But for beginners, you must remember that if you're watching this video, this is where you need to reach. This is your goal. Even if you are here, you must aim high. And a day will come when you will be comfortable with these phrases. You will be familiar with all of them. Before we begin, I will remind you what I do every time that you are watching Sumita Roy's English Classroom. I'm Professor Sumita Roy, and I request you to subscribe to the channel if you haven't done it already. I also request you to watch the videos fully because much of the video, especially the exercises, come in the last 5 minutes. You miss them out, then you miss everything in the video. This is like a classroom. So if you are asking for online courses from me, please remember that I'm meeting you every day. I'm meeting you in your own house, in wherever you are. So that is a real classroom. Please like, share, and comment. Most of the videos which I'm making these days are based on all your comments. I'm trying to accommodate each one of you to help you learn good language and, of course, some videos on literature too. Let us now begin with these phrases. Suppose you are talking with a person or with a group of people and they give you different ideas from what you have expressed. You are talking about something, you are saying that how important this point is. Then somebody says, no, there are other important points, more important points than this. That is what the other person is saying. The other person is giving you a newer perspective. Then what do? Instead of arguing, instead of starting a new conflict situation, you start by bringing them to your side by saying, I appreciate what you are saying, or I appreciate your perspective. Perspective is the way you are looking at something. Perspective is the manner of seeing a particular thing. So you have different perspectives. I have one perspective, you have another one. It is not as though I don't appreciate it. I might not agree with your perspective, but I appreciate what ideas you're putting forward. If you use this phrase, I appreciate your perspective, or I appreciate what you are saying, that brings the conversation or the communication to a higher level. There is a good understanding between the two people who are communicating, or the two groups who are communicating. This is called negotiation. It's a very important skill. So you can use this. That is the first one out of 10. The next one is when you are talking to somebody, it is very nice of you to, pay them a compliment. If you really like something, you pay them a compliment. That is really good. But you can't pay a compliment in a very, in a manner which is offensive. Sometimes compliments can also be very offensive. They can be very rude, very bad. You're saying something good, but the person understands it as something negative. So, what you can say, and this is phrase number 2, which I'm giving you, I learned something from you today, or I learned something new today from what you have said. If you say this, of course, if you've really learned something new, then it becomes a compliment, which is an advanced level of complimenting. If you say, I like what you said, or I love the way you have said it, that is not an advanced compliment as if you say, I learned something new today. I have learned a very interesting idea from what you have said. So, all these are phrases which you can use. For number 2, which I've given you a variety of phrases. Now, suppose somebody needs help. Somebody is asking you for advice or help. Then what do you do? That is a phrase which all of us need to know. Because first, we should have willingness to help. Just using English is not good enough. You must use the language as though you mean what you're saying. So, number 3 is please tell me how I can support you, or how can I support you in this difficult situation? How can I support you today? Or how can I extend my help to whatever you require? These are some of the areas which you can concentrate on. Then we move on to the next one. Suppose you have, as I told you in the first phrase, two different perspectives. Somebody is saying something else, another group is saying something else. Now you come to a conflict. You come almost to arguing or telling each other, this is terrible. We cannot work like this. How to resolve this conflict? How to put an end to this fight? You don't want to have a fight in this situation. So you say, can we not find a solution together? Or we can find a solution by working together on this. First, you put, can we not find a solution together? Or let us work together to find a solution. In this way, if you put it, the conflict immediately resolves. That means they are also going to help you, you are also going to help them. You're going to come to a situation where there is no conflict, where the problem is resolved without fighting or shouting or using bad words. Bad words, the word is abuses. So instead of abusing each other, abusing, instead of abusing each other, we sit together and we talk. We try to find a solution by discussing, by talking about all the difficulties. That is the phrase, the fourth group, phrase number 4. Now we move on to number 5. And that is when again you want to agree, you don't want to agree with the person, but you might have to, because that person might be in a position to give you that decision. The person has made some decision, but you cannot say that you are 100% agreeing with that decision. Instead of saying, I disagree with you, you say, I respect your decision, or I shall do whatever you have decided. I respect your decision. I shall do whatever you have decided. Show that you might not be in 100% agreement, but you are planning to follow that decision because you are in the position where you need to follow it. It very often happens that, you say something. You say that, I think this project should be done like this. Your team leader says, no, I don't want you to do it like that. Please follow the method I'm giving you. Then you say, I will do as you have decided. Your tone itself shows that you still think your decision might be better, but you are saying it with so much politeness, with so much decency, that whatever the other person has said, that is what you are going to follow. Because you're a member of the team, that person is your leader, your boss, so you are following. I respect your decision. If you agree with the decision, then you say, I admire your decision, or I agree totally with your decision. All these things, if you say, that means there is no doubt that you are agreeing with that person. Then you suppose you are talking to people who are junior to you. Suppose you're talking to people whom you are teaching, because we have many teachers here. Then if you praise them, if you motivate them, I've given you an entire video on how you can motivate yourself by motivating others. So that is what you need to do by saying that, I believe you can do this. I believe in your abilities. I believe in your capability. I believe in your talent. If you say this is, number 6, that word believe has a great impact on the other person. Suppose somebody comes and tells you that I'm going to tell you something today which you might not believe at all. And that person narrates an incident to you. Then you say, I believe you implicitly. Implicitly is a new word maybe for many of you. Implicitly. Implicitly means completely, totally. So you say that, I believe you implicitly. That person started by saying, you may not believe what I'm telling you today. And when you say, I believe you implicitly, that person immediately feels very happy. That person feels very satisfied. That is what communication is all about. We must remember that when we communicate, we want to give an inspiration to the others. We want to give the others some kind of an effect, which is a lasting positive effect. So that is what we do. Now we move to number 7. How will you say that you have made a mistake? This ability to apologize is very important, and that phrase is also very important. First is our attitude to apologizing. We don't feel like apologizing in most cases. We think that if I apologize, I will become lesser in importance, or I will become subordinate to another person. I will, lower myself. But please remember that an apology raises you higher. Sometimes you might comment. I saw recently a comment where somebody said that you have used the word alphabets. That is wrong. I have misused it. So I have to say, I'm sorry. The word is letters of the alphabet. Alphabet is one. We have the capital letters and we have the small letters. Together, this is the alphabet of English. So if we talk about the alphabet, then we don't say alphabets. Where I have no problem apologizing. If I think that I'm teaching you, you cannot teach me, that is where the problem comes. So attitude is very important. Then we say, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. I'm sorry, I should not have said it. I'm sorry, I was wrong and you were right. These are phrases which help us communicate very powerfully. When we are talking about advanced vocabulary, this is a phrase all of us need to learn. This we have to say. You know, you can say, I apologize abjectly. Abjectly. Abject means complete, total. I bow down in front of you in my apology. That kind of a total apology is, I'm abjectly sorry. You can also say that. There, these are all important words at the advanced level. If the beginners are listening, you just listen to the word abject, abjectly 100 times, you will immediately know how to use it in the 101st time. It is only how much exposure we have to a language that helps us to learn the language. Now we move on to number 8. I have given you 7 of them. Now we move on to number 8. Here we say that I don't think I'm aware of this. Sometimes we don't know. I told you in the first video itself that even after teaching English for 45 years or learning it for more, another 15 years, it is possible that I don't know much of English. There must be a lot of it which I need to learn. And that is where we have to be open to learning. So if you say that, I think I did not know this, or I don't think I know what you are talking about, I'm eager to learn from you, these are ways in which we take our relationships forward. Our learning of a language is carried forward when we use these very often. Now we move to the ninth one. In the ninth one, you are again using polite language. There is an entire video on polite language. I'm sure all of you can watch it a couple of times in order to use that kind of polite language when you are, communicating. Advanced communication. So you say, thank you, you have been very patient. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for devoting so much of your time. Thank you for sparing your time. Sparing, sparing, sparing your time. All these forms, if you say, then that is a way in which you are showing your appreciation. Like you said, I appreciate your perspective. Here you're saying, I thank you for your patience, or I thank you for the time you have given to me. This is an important phrase. It carries your communication forward. It makes the other person feel wanted. The person feels very warm and the relationship grows. So that is important. Now, in a conflict situation, we already saw that, I told you that we have to find a solution together, or let us work together to find a solution. Here, number 10 is also similar to them. If everybody is talking about negative things, you say, let us stay positive. Let us talk about the positive aspects. This, if we say, then, this positivity will be helpful for all of us. In this way, if you speak, then you find that this phrase takes your conversation forward. Why do we use phrases? That is a question many of you might have in your mind. We use phrases because they are usually the way in which the conversation is carried forward. Whenever we are speaking or whenever we have fillers, instead of saying and ah and things like that, these fillers, which are phrases, take our conversation to a meaningful level. Whenever we are communicating, we are most interested in the meaning. So, if you want to communicate a meaning at an advanced level, then using these phrases shows the listener that your English is at an advanced level. Many of you have asked for interview skills. I will make a video on that soon. But in an interview room, if you cannot understand a question, then you can say, I beg your pardon, instead of saying, please repeat, or instead of saying, I could not understand your question. These are all simple ways of saying it. But if you want to communicate at an advanced level, if you want to use an advanced vocabulary, then you say, may I, I beg your pardon. That will make them repeat the question. I beg your pardon. Pardon. Now, when you say the word beg, you feel, oh my God, I'm not a beggar. Why should I beg? But there is no begging involved here. It is a phrase. A phrase is a group of words which are used together. They are used so often together that whenever we use them, it forms a unit by itself. Watch the phrases and clauses video many times if you still have doubts. But when you say, I beg your pardon, the interviewers are impressed. You have already got marks for communication at an advanced level when you have said, I beg your pardon, instead of saying, what? Many of you, will look at the interviewer and say, what? And when you say what in that way, it is very rude. If you say, please repeat, that also is not very polite because you are like, it's almost, although you're saying please, but you're like ordering the person, repeat or tell me the question again. Or what did you say? Many people, I've seen in so many candidates in an interview. What did you say? I could not understand what you said. These words are used. So in polite phrases, you would say, I beg your pardon. In this way, we have many phrases which we use very often. I have tried to show you some phrases. Now, where all you can use them, let me spend a few minutes telling you about how to use them and where to use them. Suppose in your office, you have somebody who is all the time arguing with you. A person is there in the office who argues with you all the time. How will you solve this problem so that the person does not continue to argue with you? So you say, I understand your point of view. I gave you first phrase, I appreciate your perspective or I admire your perspective. So you say, I understand your point of view. Now, as soon as you say, I understand your point of view, that person has nothing more to say because that person is arguing with you to make you understand, to persuade you. And you have now said, I understand what you're trying to say, or I understand your perspective, or better, I appreciate your perspective. You have given a very clear idea that this argument is not necessary anymore. Without spending a lot of energy, without spending a lot of words, without quarreling with that other person, you have sorted out the problem. So, how you will use these phrases depends on the contexts which come to you. Whenever you think that you have made a mistake, apologizing is no problem. You might be the boss in your company. You might have many subordinates, all are superior. But when you feel that you have made a mistake, going and telling them you have made a mistake, sorry, I think I was wrong and you were right. This will win you all their loyalty lifelong. If you really want to do that, you want to win their loyalty, they will work better for you. They will do exactly what you say. So try to win their hearts. And that comes when you show that I'm also human. I'm not superhuman. I'm not all knowing. When you say, I did not know this before. I remember many times a teacher saying to a student, especially in research, etc., that what research you have done, I did not know it myself. The student feels very proud and happy that the teacher is appreciating the student so much. In this way, we use the phrases at the correct moment in a manner that our communication reaches an advanced level. Our ability to exchange ideas at a level which is very advanced is fulfilled by these phrases. I would like you to practice the phrases as often as possible. Try to do them very often, and then you find that these phrases become a part of your active vocabulary. I told you already that we have a whole lot of things in our passive vocabulary. When you listen to this video 2, 3 times, your passive vocabulary becomes excellent. I have used some words like, incessant and abusing and all that. So they are now part of your passive vocabulary. If you use it for 10 days, they become a part of your active vocabulary. Then you can use them easily. When you start thinking, the words pop into your mind and they come out of your lips. That is where vocabulary becomes important. And advanced vocabulary implies that you know how to use more and more words, more and more phrases in a very comfortable way. You don't have to struggle. Ask the beginners who are struggling to speak English. Why do they struggle? Because thoughts are in the mind, but there are no words for those thoughts. Vocabulary is missing. That is why they struggle. So when we practice these phrases, we become better. So please try to practice them as often as possible. Practice them in different contexts and see how they help you. Apologizing, helping, showing people that you admire them, all these are important points, and we have special phrases for each of them. I tried to tell you some simple 10 phrases today, but we shall continue with many more in other videos. Thank you and all the best.